Hey everyone, welcome to the West Coast Barbell Club exercise library. Right now we're going to have a quick look at some block pulls. Okay, now block pull is a deadlift variation, kind of the opposite of the deficit deadlift we just uploaded, where the bar is going to be elevated from the floor while you're on the floor. So the bar is elevated relative to you versus the deficit deadlift where you're elevated relative to the bar. Okay, now these are somewhat interchangeable with rack pulls, which you might be familiar with already, where you set pins or safety spotter arms on your power rack or squat rack at a height that you pull the bar from. In that situation, the plates aren't contacting an object on the floor, okay? The bar itself, close to the cuffs, is going to be what contacts the pins or spotter arms on your rack, okay? Now, I generally program block pulls as much as anything because I feel like you get a truer sense of the slack coming out of the bar as compared to a normal deadlift than a rack pull where you can pull a lot more slack out of the bar and just adjust your positioning maybe a little bit more than we'd like in terms of having the joint angles carry over to a normal deadlift. But also because out of respect for fellow gym owners, I know I wouldn't be particularly keen to see any of my crew doing heavy rack pulls with any of our bars, given how much it beats them up and can cause them to bend. You know, if you're training in a facility that's invested in giving you some good quality barbells to train with, out of respect for them, let's not do rack pulls unless they have some specific bars set aside for you to do rack pulls with. Let's try and set up block pulls where we can. Okay. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I've just used a bumper plate with a towel on top. Okay, it can be any object underneath. Ideally, it's actually going to be some gym floor tile that you can stack up because, as I said in the deficit deadlift video, most of those are about a centimetre thick. Okay, so you can incrementally increase the number of floor tiles underneath the plates to set them up to a specific depth. Okay, I'll often program a specific centimetre of elevation off the floor that we want for our clients. Obviously, inches could be in there too, like a 1 inch or a 2 inch block pull. I normally go with a 3 centimetre or a 5 centimetre block pull, for example. Okay, everything else about your setup doesn't really change. Okay, and it can be tempting with these to slightly alter your setup given the leverages can be adjusted for that slightly higher pull. That would be fine if you're training for strongman and deliberately actually training for a higher pull, which is often one of the contested events. Okay, but if you're a general strength trainee or powerlifter receiving block pulls in your programming, I do want you to try and maintain the same sort of position that you would find yourself in at this level of elevation in the range of motion. Okay, rather than maybe sitting back and down a little bit more, which you can get away with often with block pull. Okay, so everything else about the movement remains the same. Okay, I'll give you a quick demo of what we're after. Okay, you can see how the plates are elevated up on the surface that we've created here. Okay, and I'm going to go through pretty much the same setup and technique as I would for my normal deadlifts where I haven't got blocks underneath the bar. Okay, so that there is a conventional block pull, the elevation created by the plates and the towels that we put underneath the bar. Okay, like I said, hopefully there'll be something at your training facility that will allow you to set these up similarly from an appropriate height. Okay, ideally if you've got access to some spare gym floor tile, that's your best option. Okay, there's our block pull. If you see them in your program and you're unsure about anything, feel free to ask me any questions that you have and I'll be happy to help.